Hi, I'm Charlie,
Hi, I'm Luke, and welcome back to the next episode.
and today we'll be talking about martial arts, Confucianism, and the film The Grandmaster. Before we start, I'd like to go over some of the characters that we'll be talking about. So first we have Ip Man. Ip Man is a master of Wing Chun from southern China. The film follows his rise, personal losses, and eventual move to Hong Kong, where he becomes a legendary teacher. The next character is Gong Yutian, the Grandmaster of the North. He retires and passes leadership southward after testing Ip Man's skill. Next is Gong Er, daughter of the Northern Martial Arts Grandmaster. She seeks revenge against Ma San for betraying her father and sacrifices her future to uphold her family's honor. Lastly, we have the main antagonist, Ma San, which is Gong Yutian's former student, who betrays his master and collaborates with occupying forces. He becomes Gong Er's primary enemy. Let's start with the plot. The Grandmaster opens with a scene of Ip Man living a peaceful life with his wife and children, where he practices Wing Chun martial arts. Ip is challenged to a duel by the old Grandmaster Gong Yutian of the North, Gong Er's father. The duel is not one of force or violence. Instead, Gong Yutian challenges Ip Man to break a piece of flat cake, representing the North and South of China. The North and South in China used to be united, but now they're in a bloody civil war. Ip Man challenges Gong Yutian's view of using martial arts for conquest by suggesting that Gong Yutian is only looking at what's in front of him, the Civil War. Ip Man sees the flat cake as martial arts, and it should be broken off and shared with others outside of territorial limits. We'll show you a clip of Ip Man's response to Gong Yutian's analogy with flat cake.
其实天下之大，又何止南北？勉强求全等于固步自封。在你眼中，这块饼是一个武林，对我来讲是一个世界。所谓大成若缺，有缺憾才能有进步。真管用的话，南拳又何止北唇呢？你说对吗？
说得好。 宫茂赢了一辈子，没有输在武功上，没成想输在了想法。叶先生，今日我把名声送给你，往后的路。 你是一步一擂台，希望你像我一样，凭一口气点一盏灯。要知道，念念不忘，必有回响。有灯，就有人。
Gong Yutian is pleased with Ip Man's philosophical reasoning and gives him one last piece of advice. I once had a temper like yours. Winning was everything. Take a longer view. Past the mountains, the world opens up. Not to see the good in others, not to admit their talent, is to lack generosity.
Yeah.
Our high standards in martial arts apply to character as well. Gong Yutian's daughter, Gong Er, sees her father's quick defeat as a disgrace. She challenges Ip Man to a duel in which the first person to break anything in the brothel loses. We'll play the clip right now. This is the start of their unrequited romantic relationship between the two. But they are suddenly separated when Japan invades China in the Second Sino-Japanese War. Ip Man and his family struggle to survive, and eventually, his daughter dies of starvation in the Second Sino-Japanese War. After the war, Ip Man travels to Hong Kong. He manages to preserve the dignity of his martial arts amidst the chaos around him, where everyone is resorting to using their martial arts in circus performances to make quick money. At the same time, Gong Air's father is murdered by Ma Sang, a northern deserter. For the honor of her family, Gong Air takes a vow or revenge to kill Ma Sang and to never marry, never have children, and never pass on her martial arts. These are all things that would bring her great fulfillment and happiness, but she values honor above all these things that only bring ephemeral happiness. After a long duel, Gong Air manages to kill Ma Sang, but she sustains heavy injuries. Before succumbing to her injuries, she meets Ip Man one last time, and they lament what their lives could have been if they were together. But they end in a mutual understanding of how there are other forces in their lives that are of more importance, and there's no going back to change their past. Now we'll go into the religion, Confucianism, and how this plays into martial arts and the philosophy of each of the characters' lives. So martial arts is a way of living out your philosophy through action. There are different martial arts schools, paths, and techniques to suit each person's character in the movie. In the film, one of the challengers in the brothel combined multiple martial art forms just so he could win the duel. He didn't care about aligning with the philosophy. Because of this, he lacked restraint and focus and ended up destroying all the furniture and decoration in the place. This symbolizes that he didn't have control over his actions because he's not properly aligning all aspects of his life with the martial arts philosophy. Ip Man once said, Kung Fu, 2 words, horizontal, vertical. Make a mistake, horizontal. Stay standing and you win. Ip Man's Wing Chun martial arts philosophy is not about aggression like Gong Air's 6'4" martial arts. Wing Chun is focused on defense and counterattacks. The whole goal is to be disciplined and stay focused enough so you can withstand your opponent's attacks, wearing them down so more of your counterattacks land. Ip Man remains so close to his morals of never surrendering to a great evil out of convenience that he is willing to sacrifice himself and his family to starvation, which 2 of his daughters do die for. After the war, Ip Man is in Hong Kong, and he preserves the dignity of his martial arts by only using it out of necessity. He remains adamant on this principle amidst the chaos around him, where other teachers are resorting to using their martial arts in circus performances to make quick money. In fact, Ip Man and Gong Air throughout the whole movie do not compromise their strict adherence to Confucian-based martial arts philosophies. For instance, the elders advise Gong Air to forget about her vow to avenge her father's death by dueling Ma Sang, and instead settle down and live a peaceful, happily married life. They insist that nobody would know that she broke this private vow. Gong Air responds by saying, Heaven would know, earth would know, father would know. No arrow may return to its bow. Others may live without rules, not me. Gong Air strongly adheres to the Confucian ideal of filial piety, in which her ancestors and her father, despite being dead, are watching her at every moment, and she has a moral obligation to honor them. Her actions have consequences, whether they receive punishment or not. So, Gong Air refuses to live a happy, married life, which she does want with Ip Man, but she does so in refusing it out of respect for her father's murder and her ancestors. This vow supersedes all of her wants and desires. Gong Air once said, Kung Fu isn't just charging forward, look behind you as well. When Gong Air meets Ip Man for the very last time, she reflects on her life and her choices. Let's watch the clip.
64首，我已经忘了。我在最好的时候碰到你，是我的运气。可惜我没时间了。 想想，说人生无悔，都是赌气的话。人生若无悔，那该多无趣啊！叶先生，说句真心话，我心里有过你。我把这话告诉你也没什么，喜欢人不犯法。可我也只能到喜欢为止了。
Gongir's vow of revenge and renunciation of all the things she wanted to pursue in her life, for the sake of her ancestors, is the best representation of filial piety in Confucianism. She put the honor of her family before her own, sacrificing her life for the people who molded her into the wise and disciplined person she became as an adult.
Overall, on Rotten Tomatoes, the film has received a 79% from critics and a 59% on fan reviews. The film is highly praised for its art and cinematography, but is critiqued on its story and display of Ip Man. Too many of the story feels rushed, choppy in places, and missing important information. Overall, the movie feels like there are scenes skipped or missing. It feels very poorly edited, and it was on purpose. The USA and the European version of the movie is drastically different from the Chinese version. The Chinese version is praised so much, many critiques see it as a totally different film with different messages. To start, the USA version includes more narration and explanation of Eastern cultures to the Western viewers, leaving less time for valuable information and plot information. In the American version, they even go so far to fit in Western culture that they include references to Bruce Lee that are not included in the other version. In the American version, the story is so focused on Ip Man that it feels like another sequel to the Ip Man movie series. The Chinese version is more focused on the big story and giving each character their due screen time. The Chinese version, being way less linear than the US, ties together a story much bigger, providing a historical story that is meant to connect with. It's really hard to find the Chinese version to watch online, so you either have to go to alternative sites or purchase a CD package with all three versions on Amazon. This is also why there is a lack of critique for the Chinese version, and the only ones I could find were Reddit mongers that live in their great-grandparents' basement. That's on the script!
That's on the script, not even a book.